Have you moved from solopreneur to hiring a writer, or maybe a group of writers to help build content on your site? Today, we're going to talk about how to create an SEO optimized outline to help you continue to rank in Google. I'm Leslie Peterson, helping full-time bloggers work smarter and make more money. Thanks to our subscriber, Katy, for today's question. Let's get started. For today's example, we're going to use the keyword phrase, things to do in Alabama. And the first place I always start is SEMrush. Now, you might be using another tool for your keyword research, and that's okay. The process here will be the same, but we're going to use SEMrush today, and I've got a link for this application down below if you're interested in checking it out. So I run the keyword magic tool, things to do in Alabama search, and I can see here that the volume is about 8,100 a month, and the keyword difficulty is 72. Now, 72 is not an easy term to rank on. We're going to push forward with it on our blog because we have a silo of authority around things to do in Alabama and all the cities there. But you just always want to do a double check on the keyword difficulty. And regardless of whether you have a silo of authority or not, you might attack this differently based on what the keyword difficulty is. Now, the second thing I'm going to do is run this term through the SEO Content Template. So I've already done that because it takes a little bit of time, and I'm going to open it here for us. Here you'll see a lot of useful information, people who are already ranking on this term, semantic keywords, great places to get backlinks, the recommended text length, and then more information about those that are ranking for this term already. The first thing I always do, regardless of whether I'm writing the post or somebody else is writing the post, is I open up each of the top 3 to 5 result sets and look at them. The reason you do this is to check the intentionality of the term. When people search for this term, they have an answer in mind. They know how they want the information to come back. And we know what that intention is based on the top result sets. Once I understand the intention of the user when they're looking for that particular term, then I know how to use the semantic terms in an outline. So the next thing I do is look at the length, the recommended length. In this case, 2,500. So rule number 1, I never ever write or have another writer write an article less than 2,000 words. And really, it should probably be no less than 2,500 words in the current state of the internet that we're in right now. So if the recommended text length here is less than 2,000, then I automatically push that up to 2,000. In this case, 2,500. However, if you recall, this was a very difficult keyword to rank on. So you might want to increase that number to 3,000 or 3,500 if you don't have a strong silo of authority on your site for that topic already. The third thing I do is look at the semantically related words. Now, I know, and I'm probably going to hear it in the comments, John Mueller from Google says LSIs or semantic keywords have no bearing over Google rankings. But my 15 years as a blogger says otherwise. Now, Google might not be looking for civil rights movement or Mardi Gras when they're making this ranking, but what these latent semantic keywords do is help me understand intentionality again. They help me understand the types of words that are always being used in articles that are ranking. So I know that people who are looking for this information are looking for it in the context in which Mardi Gras, the Civil Rights Movement, the Mobile Carnival Museum will show up. So they are important. They might not be being used in the exact way that we're about to apply them, but the intention is the same, and that's why I always use them. So you want to make sure that your outline includes all of these terms. Now, my next step for semantic words, if this again is a new silo of authority for me, if it's a very difficult word to rank on, then I don't depend on just the LSIs in SEMrush. I use another tool. And one of the tools that I like because it's affordable and robust is Rank IQ. So you'll see here, they suggest at least 3,000 words. So that's something to consider when you're looking at the word count that you want your writer to achieve. But you'll notice when I run this report that there are a lot more related terms, and you can download the entire list here. And so if this was a very difficult term to rank on, let's say it was an 80 or an 85, and or it was on a topic that was new to my blog, then I would probably add these semantic words to my outline as well. So that is entirely up to you, but it's definitely something you want to consider for those higher difficult keywords. The next thing I do is open up a Google Doc. And I use Google Docs instead of Word Docs or any other document because I really love the SEMrush Writing Assistant plugin that comes with your SEMrush subscription. So it's here that I would begin to organize the semantic words based on which words are H2s and which words are really just supporting that H2. So you can see here, this is an outline that we started creating for things to do in Alabama. And you can see the green words on the side are words that I've used in this outline, and the words that are not highlighted haven't been used yet. So if I look down here, I can see Alabama Civil Rights Trail. And then a word that we haven't used yet is the Civil Rights Movement. And I might want to put that either in the introduction. I can come into, let's say, the header area, the intro, and I can say, please talk about the Civil Rights Movement in the introduction, an important part of what Alabama is about. So I've added that in here. Now, for me, what I do with our writers, they know that anything that's in caps is an H2. If it's in caps and indented, it becomes an H3. And then any words that are not in caps are supporting terms that they need to use, but they're not headers. And then any words at the top, obviously, that are not in caps are just part of the introduction. So what I do is I take, in so much as I can, if this is a place I haven't visited, I take the words that are on the side here, the semantic words, and I put them into an outline that makes sense. Now, generally writing about a place, if I hadn't visited Alabama, I would still know as a traveling person in the United States that the Civil Rights Trail is important, the Rocket Center is important, the beaches are important. So I know I can pull those out immediately and add them as H2s. The other words, I might have to do a little research before I add them. For example, Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is huge, right? So let's say what I might want to add here is visit during Mardi Gras. And then a supporting item under here might be the Mardi Gras Museum, or a parade was listed. I would know that would go under here. So that's the way I begin to build the outline. It takes a little bit of time if it's a place you haven't visited. So I will tell you, for example, I was a teenager the last time I visited Hawaii. So when I build an outline for our writer in Hawaii who's lived there for 12 years and knows the state inside and out, I don't always add the H2s. Sometimes I just give her the list of information and I have her build the H2s, and then she double checks them with us, and they've been right every time because she knows that better than I do. She's going to do a better job at it than I will, just simply because I'm not at all familiar with that part of the country. Now, I do have a little bit of experience with Alabama. That's why building the H2s here was easier. So how you do that, how you build your outline in that capacity has a lot to do with your experience with the topic and your writer's experience with the topic. Now, once I get all of the terms into our outline, don't forget, if you're using a second tool for a highly competitive term, then you'll have to add those words as well. But once I get all of those in there, Then I take a look back at my site. In this case, I'll look at my landing page for Alabama, and I can see, oh, we've got Montgomery, we've got Orange Beach, we've got Huntsville, we've got Mobile, we've got Birmingham. We have all of these places. And I look, and this topic is very general, right? Things to do in Alabama. So I want to make sure that I can build interlinks between as much as I can. So I look at the existing content I have, I look at the new posts, and I say, where can I fill in some blanks? So for example, I might come in here and say, let's add the Mobile Carnival Museum. That way, in this section, I can link out to things to do in Mobile. And I might say, let's add Goat Island and Lake Martin so that I know I can link back to the Lake Martin, Alabama article that we already have. So you don't want to just use the semantic terms. You want to also look at your internal linking strategies. Finally, especially if this is a place you're not familiar with, you might discover that your writer knows a lot more about this destination or this topic than you do. So what I do is I give the writer some instructions. The first thing I say to them is, this might not be a complete outline. You were picked as the writer for this topic because you're the expert, not me. So please add to this outline as you see fit. This is simply the bare minimum. Now, this one's fairly long because, again, I have a lot of familiarity with Alabama. But if I'm sending an outline to our Hawaii writer, I'm just going to have the bare minimum semantic terms in there. And there might be a lot more to write about. So you have to trust the writer to add the additional H2s or sections that are necessary for your article to be successful. Now, if you're finding this information helpful, please hit the subscribe button so you can see more videos from us about how to be successful as a professional blogger. When I've finished this outline, then when I've sent it to the writer, the next thing I do is I go into monday.com. I have a board where I keep track of all of our writer assignments. So this is, as of today, this is what we have out. All of these article topics are assigned. One of them is with our first step. We have 2 steps in our editorial process. So this is with the first person in that step. And then you can see these are the outlines that I have on tap when they're due, and they're ready to go when these people turn in their assignments. I can hand them the next one. We also have multiple websites, so I keep track of which website that article or that outline is for. But you'll want to come in and indicate the assignment. So who's it assigned to, when is it due, where does it go, etc. But the most important thing I want to point out here is we keep track of the target keyword here. And that's very important because you have to keep updating your articles every year in order for them to stay on top of Google. By tracking what the target keyword is from the very beginning, then you are a step ahead of the process when you do your next update. It's very easy to move these from outline to assignment, and then once the article gets published, it moves into our inventory board. So very easy to manage with Monday, but it all starts with that target keyword. Now, if you're interested in learning about how to update existing posts, and you definitely should be doing this, then download our checklist below. And if you're looking for information about how to add affiliates easily into these posts, then check out our video on that.